Chai's mixed it.
Shit, I'm tired of you niggas who. And I'm tired of you bitches who. Yeah. Shit, I'm tired of you niggas who wanna be friends cause it's a business move. Yeah. And I'm tired of you bitches who just be talking like they still in school. They said I never struggled in my life. Better come up with some better shit than that. I was dead broke trying to flip a pack. Way too many nights with a dinner at. Other parents taking me to clothes shop. Try and go to school while I home hop. I did everything except for whip it on the stove top. Trapped out the crib and my neighbors had their own watch. Cops came to my house, they had to make a roadblock. Brother on the run, I'm just yelling at him, don't stop. Someone shot me, I looked the bitch in the face. Boy pulled the trigger, that was his biggest mistake. I ain't stopped since I learned how Benjamin taste. These niggas pretending they're fake, feminine traits. Oh my, all sincere, see I won't lie. No, I'm business first, keep a bow tie. You two-faced, looking for wide. Oh my, all these snakes playing both sides. Yeah, how we think he better than me? I paint pics that he never could teach. Always paid attention and I kept the receipts. It's bad luck, not the bet on the beast. Yeah.
Okay, and I've been looking for someone that I can lay my soul in. You ain't never wanna show devotion, baby, that's alright. I ain't tryna touch the sky. I pray that we don't live a lie. Let's see, I can't lose focus. Got me rolling around like fuck, bitch, don't say shit, don't know shit. I was chillin' around a lot of nigga like Crip that, go load this. My life seen a lot of shit, oh God, I ain't never spoke shit. Yeah, like nigga, where you coming from? Blue face, gotta run it up. Two face, I done had enough. This shit just ain't adding up. Sound like parabola. She gon' make that back bend, diving off the back end. Wish I never had friends. It's it, oh, yeah, yeah. And I know you acting like you don't need no one, knowing damn well, baby, that you need someone. Okay, and I've been looking for someone that I can lay my soul in. You ain't never wanna show devotion, baby, that's alright. I ain't tryna touch the sky. I pray that we don't live a lie. And see, I can't lose focus.
Yo, welcome to the second episode of the Upstate Aesthetic exclusive podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Kazir, and that was the music video for Tired, the opening track on Anthony Kannon and Meech Booker's upcoming project titled Blur. That project doesn't currently have a release date outside of some strong hints that it's going to drop at the end of August, but this week we are fortunate enough to have one half of the dynamic duo with us, Anthony Kannon. Anthony, how are things going?
Yo. What's good, Andrew?
Not much, man. Just chilling. Just got out of a long day of work. Excited to have you here for this podcast. So tell us about yourself for anybody who hasn't heard of Anthony Kannon, or maybe they've heard of Anthony Kannon, listen to your music, but don't really know much about you, haven't really listened to any interviews. Tell us about yourself, where you're from, how old you are, that type of thing.
I got you. And man, I just want to say I'm happy to be here too. The feeling is likewise. So my name's Anthony Kannon. I grew up in Ithaca, New York, bounced back and forth between a couple places, cities and states, feel me, Maryland, Indiana, Colorado, Texas. But for the majority of my life, I spent it all in Ithaca, basically. Even on the outskirts cities like Dryden, Newfield. But for all school, primarily I was in Ithaca. I grew up like athlete pedigree. I thought I was going to go play college sports. Like, I trained my whole fucking life to do that shit. When I was a child, my dad used to tell me that he could, like, dunk from the free throw line, and I never believed him. But it made me want to do some shit like that. Come to find out, that shit was true. Long story short. Like, I don't know how a nigga was 5'9". Between fights with the coaches, general disinterest in sports after a certain amount of time, and I always had a passion for rap. I just started taking it more seriously throughout school. I'd say I wrote my first rap when I was 7 years old. My mom went to prison. My brother went to a juvenile detention center, and I used to listen to a lot of Eminem and that nigga used to talk hella shit about his mom. So I used to I used to just identify with him. I was super mad at my parents. It made me start writing. I showed it to my dad. He was like, bro, just never stop. My dad's he's a pretty respected musician in the area, and has been my whole entire life. And so he knows what's possible with music, and he knows how unfeasible it may seem, but how capable people really are of achieving what they want to. So he always coached me to be the artist that I'm still growing into today, and I'm super appreciative of his influence. I dropped a little project that really nobody knows about unless you went to high school with me, because I only made physical CDs. I sold about 100 of them, and they were just all remixes. It was like a 16-track tape, super raw, no mixing, just raps, bro. And it did well. It like motivated me to keep going. The reception wasn't bad. It was good, like to a certain extent. But I made $1,000 off of it when I was 16, and I was like, damn. Yeah, like I was excited.
Off your first project, like or make money off anything, and it's just remixes and physical. That's dope, dude.
Yeah, I can't say no tracks because I don't want to get sued in the future.
Right. No, that makes sense. Did you ever use any of those verses in the future, or was that all just on that project and then you left it there? Or?
I used to like rearrange verses and put them to different beats and shit, but I think when I turned like 19, I stopped doing that because I realized it's always better when you tailor fit something. You feel me? Like you can always create something specific, and that's how I rock these days. But I might re-release them at some point on SoundCloud or some shit. I always think about it, always.
That would be dope, and that's dope to just have something like that in the tuck in case you ever need to just put something out to feed the fan base for a little while. That works.
Yeah, I was such a different rapper back then. No, I cannot see myself doing it. But I always think about it. It's always in the back of my mind. It's definitely a possibility.
Word. And you talked about just the raw aspect of when you first started rapping and how a lot of that was inspired by your parents and your mom especially, and that's a big theme throughout Colorblind entirely. And I was listening to Colorblind just the other day, and I told you yesterday, but I'll go on the record and say it, like, to me that's an Upstate classic of a project just because of how raw it is. And if you listen to it from top to bottom, it's arranged like a project, like you're telling stories throughout the whole thing, and it's a dope project. So, and did you utilize that inspiration throughout that then?
You're asking what my inspirations were for Colorblind, basically?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was working, I changed from Infamous to Anthony Kannon. I don't know if you know that I used to go by the name Infamous, and that was more so high school. When I dropped a remix called Bag on Me, dropped it on Facebook, got a little views. I got hit up by this person named Mr. Focus. Shout out Mr. Focus. I met with him. He had a little label, and he told me all about branding. He told me the importance dropping like that one debut project that could get people captivated. He's actually the one that named me Anthony Kannon. Like, we discussed names back and forth. He came up with that. It was his initial idea, and I was like, word, like, I'm about it. And it stuck. I really ended up liking it. I wanted to stick to my roots. I didn't want to change my name too much. I wanted to use what my father gave me in some way, shape, or form. So Colorblind came from comments that people used to leave on my videos that went viral. Like, they used to give me so much hate because I look like a little white kid saying nigga on the internet. But I know what I look like, but I also know what I am. So I never gave a fuck about what people are going to say. But I also wanted to, before I even step foot in the industry, possibly give people a background of who I am and what I've been through and how I identify. But I didn't want to come off preachy as fuck like Logic. Like, I didn't want to be like any types of repetitive or annoying. That's why on the intro Colorblind, I just laid it all out. I tried to outline every theme of the project without like beating a dead horse, as some would say. I really wanted to paint a picture of my life, my aspirations. I wanted people to see how good my rapping was, but that was also to prove to me that I could make more than raps. I could write songs, I could structure it, I could write a chorus, because before Colorblind, I never did that. Like it was like a first swing, and it took a year and a half to come up with it, man. Like I had it finished in my mind so many times, but then my life kept changing, so I had to tell more life stories and adapt it. Like after I got shot, I sat on Colorblind for like a month or two and was like, I'm not even gonna talk about this. I'm not gonna talk about it on the project. But after another month or so, it was just such a prevalent thing in my life. Like it was literally what I was going through at the time. So I needed to let people know what was on my mind, just like every other song. So the inspiration behind that was just trying to be as raw as possible and get everybody to understand me from the gate.
That's dope, and it's crazy that you took that information from somebody and the whole marketing information, because there's so many people who will get that free information and will just toss it to the side and don't utilize it to do anything with their music or their project. You at a young age took that information and were able to utilize it. Like I know I was 18 trying to make music, and if someone came to me with the right information on how to market my shit, I would have probably ignored it and done it all the wrong way. So it's dope that you were able to do that. And just like Colorblind is a project that you'll be able to go back to when you make it, and it's still a project that fans then will be like, holy shit, he's been killing it since he was like 19 years old just doing this. And so that's the thing. That's why I think of it as like an Upstate classic, because you'll be able to go back to that, and fans will be able to go back to that and look at that project and say, damn, he's been doing this for a while, and his story is like, because your story is interesting and all the shit that you've been through from getting shot and dealing with your mom and your family and that type of shit. That's a story that not everyone can relate to, but in some ways they can relate to pieces of it. And that's what makes you so popular, I think.
I that's like the highest honor that you could really give somebody for their debut project. So I appreciate that, my man. I try to be as relatable as possible, but like you said, I've lived a peculiar life, and there's not too many people that can say that they've been through exactly what I've been through. But I'm trying to paint a picture in a way that even if you haven't been through it, you can empathize or feel like you were there, or it's like something. Like my favorite rapper is Royce the 5'9", and recently some of his music, when he gets so introspective, it's almost like a movie. He walks you through a scene. Like it doesn't matter if you experience it or not, he makes you feel like you did. And I'm trying to encompass part of that in some of my music, especially in Colorblind, especially with Colorblind.
Yeah, and you could feel that on Colorblind. And Colorblind, you dropped that in what, the middle of 2018?
I dropped that at the end of it, actually, September 25th, 2018.
All right, and then around December is when you dropped Ghost, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and Ghost just recently went to 100,000 streams on Spotify. That's probably your most popular song thus far, right?
Yeah, for sure. On any streaming service, that counts, really. Like, I have a couple videos on Facebook that cracked 100,000. I got a Bad and Bougie remix that cracked like 250,000, I think. But Facebook doesn't really count because it's just like it doesn't really translate back into views.
Yeah,
Ghost is
really
by far my most
either,
popular
right?
song. What'd you say?
You can't really monetize off of Facebook views either, right?
Now you can. When I dropped the songs, you couldn't. But I would if it really mattered, but I haven't even looked at the rules. Like I try to monetize off every platform except for SoundCloud and Facebook. But
Right.
That'll end if I start really publishing material on both again.
And not to put you on the spot, but all of those streams are legit. Like I see your early stuff and like the huge number of streams you had. That's all like straight up legit.
Yeah, absolutely. Like what are you talking about? Like
you're not like
shit?
buying. Like the Facebook videos where you have like 50,000 or 100,000 views. Like and I see them and I believe it.
Like,
but like is that
like
all like?
So I would sponsor posts. I would do the marketing ads. I would hit up different pages that had followers of like 300,000, 400,000.
See, like,
One
that to me
time,
is still legit, though, because you're doing the work. It's not like you're going to a website and paying for 500 or 500,000
Oh
streams
no,
or some
not
shit.
at all.
That's
Not
more or
at
less
all.
what I was trying to get into, and I don't think that's
I'd
what you
rather
were doing.
grease
It's just
pockets,
like you when you got
because money moves, and you got to make connections eventually. So what I would do is I would hit up like actual like pages and just see how much it took for them to repost the video. Most of them would give me a pretty high price, and then I'd show them, and they'd cut the price down a little bit, and I was thankful. Some of them tried to fuck me, and I wasn't about it.
That's how it is, man. That's the thing about that type of shit is you see a lot of people like trying to make people pay to put shit on their like stream or like playlists. A lot of times they'll pay to be on a playlist, and I see so many people complaining about getting scammed on that shit.
Nah, a lot of people get scammed on that. A lot of people get scammed. Spotify, it's like supposed to be against their rules to do pay for playlists, but you can pay like a third-party company to submit your song to playlist curators to see if they'll pick your song for a certain playlist.
Right.
Like you can't. You're supposed to not give money for a guaranteed slot on a playlist. But I know multiple platforms that you could pay people to submit your music to hundreds of playlists and see if like 1 or 2, 3 of them bite.
Right, and that's really all it takes. And that's the playlist thing is what's big and what helps a lot of upcoming artists. And that's something I think you realized early was that by being able to get Ghost on these playlists and being able to get it to ears that wouldn't normally hear it, it's going to be a positive thing regardless. And you can see that with the uptick in streams on this song compared to some of your other ones. So it's cool to see that, and obviously a big feat for you to have 100,000 streams on that track. How did you put it together? Because that was done with a producer out in Ithaca too, right?
At the time, he lived in Ithaca, and he grew up with me basically. Like we've been friends since middle school, rapping together since high school. Shout out Pierce Dearly. He lives in Nashville, Tennessee at the moment. And he's down there. He followed his fucking dream, packed up his car and literally went to Nashville just to pursue music. He's doing good down there from what I've heard. And I plan on to keep making music with him for sure. It was always kind of like a dream to put out a song. Like we were literally talking about that since middle school, and we never did for some reason. He was one of actually the most talented rappers that I ever heard in this area, and he transitioned, took a couple years off in hibernation and just taught himself to produce and sing, and now he's in just a whole different artistry bag. So much respect to that man.
Yeah, that's dope, and that's dope that you were able to collaborate, and now your most popular track was with someone that you went to school with and have worked with for so long. So it's cool to see that networking helps, but a lot of times you can make real good shit with people right at home.
Absolutely. Recently, I've been trying to make as many local connections as possible. Like I used to buy all my beats from the internet, and now for like the last 20 to 30 songs I've made, they're all local producers or people that I've shook their hand and I've met that live around this area. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, and that can be helpful. Just working with producers and stuff like that. That's always a positive thing.
For sure.
Like just because when you work with a producer locally, they're gonna be more apt to want to promote your song and put it out there for people that they know. Whereas if you buy it online, they really don't give a shit. They got your money and they're ready to move on.
I agree, but I also like to shine the light on literally anybody that's putting their talents out to the world, because there's so much like just low-key talent out here that people aren't really grasping for some reason. Like I think now it's better than ever for a local artist in Ithaca, no matter who you are. But it's still like I know so many people that are so talented that they're just waiting for one person to check their shit out. So especially these producers, like to be honest, I'm working with a lot of high schoolers that I wouldn't even know if it wasn't for this teaching gig that I just got. Like I don't know what they're putting in the water these days, but Jesus Christ, they got some like little Scott Storches down there, I swear to God.
Didn't you have, isn't that one of your students produced Big Bang?
Yeah, one of my teaching assistants, and he is a student at New Roots. Shout out ONHB. That's my little man's right there.
Yeah, that's crazy to see. Just like that teaching gig ended up lining you up with someone who was able to produce a track that you were able to put out. And then you've put out
For
Big
sure.
Bang and Spotlight over the last couple of months. Are these going to be loosies, or are these singles off of an upcoming solo project that you might be working on, or just something to hold the fans over?
Yeah, it's completely something to hold the fans over. I definitely thought about the idea of putting them on projects, but to me, neither of them fit specific concepts. They're more just songs that I figured I could get out there. Spotlight I actually made a long time ago, and just had it mixed and engineered to sound a little bit different, and I went with that. Big Bang was something that I actually recorded in the studio when I was working on me and Meech's collaboration project. We would take breaks every now and then because we would be in the studios for sometimes 12 hours at a time, and we would work on solo shit for a little bit. Somebody would just sit on the couch, smoke a blunt, chill out for a little bit.
That's what's up. And then just sort of back on the topic of like collaborative efforts, you had Promise, NYC, Mr. McBean, and Matthew Cornwell on Colorblind. But then after that, lately you've been, like you said, working with as many people in that area as it seems, and it seems to be that you've become the heavyweight guy who everybody either goes to for a feature, or you're always featured on what everybody's working on. How did that come about? Did you just start reaching out to everybody?
Man, it's like I said a little bit earlier, that there's just so much talent out here. And I think a lot of artists are kind of intimidated from other artists. Like I've never from a young age felt like that with anybody that's out here, because I think we're all in the same position until somebody's not. Like I've always tried to stay up to date with whoever's making music out here, especially in other areas, because I know what's going on in Ithaca. So whether I hit up somebody to make a song with them or not, I hit up somebody to tell them that a song that they dropped was hot. Like I show love whenever I can. And a lot of the times, if somebody doesn't hit me up, collaboration spawns from me hitting somebody up, being like, yo, that's dope. And they're like, yo, I think you're dope. Like, I wanted to do a song with you. And I'm like, okay, but I am sought out a lot. Like, I have a lot of feature requests that I don't end up doing. But I would say between last July and now, I guess a year, the past 12 months, I've done easily 50 collaborations. Like I've recorded more collabs and songs, and like only 20% of the collabs I've done have came out. Like I don't know what's happening to them. I'm sure people are holding them in the vault for some odd reason, but there's gonna be a lot of music that drops throughout this year. I'm expecting randomly that's gonna help me sprinkle little tracks between drops that I have for myself.
That's crazy smart. That's one of the things that I think is one of the smartest things that an upcoming artist can do. It's something that I think back to when like someone like Lil Wayne got on, and this is obviously on a much larger scale, but when he got on, he was featuring on so many different genres and so many different tracks that it was impossible.
He was just fucking everywhere.
Yeah, it was impossible for anyone to miss him. If anybody's listening to any of their friends' music in upstate New York, they're going to hear your stuff just because, at least in the Ithaca area, you seem to be featured on everything. And how do you said that you obviously have some that you aren't doing. How do you pick and choose? Is it just based upon like people that you're close with or people whose music that you really enjoy?
If you take yourself seriously, then I'm going to take you seriously. So if you present yourself properly, if you come at me correctly, and you have a product that's respectable, and I think I'm a little bit more lenient than a lot of artists are out here with what's respectable or not. I think I have a wider range of what I like and what I don't like than a couple other artists that I know tend to not do collaborations. I just pick and choose based off if I can feel the song, if I can feel the beat. Like a lot of the times, if it's a song that I don't particularly like, I'll still do it if I can really, really like the beat. If I know that I can get a verse off that'll benefit me to anybody that listens, then I'm gonna do it, to be honest. And recently, I did so many features like 6-8 months ago that I would end up going to the studio and losing money because I'm paying my engineer to work on somebody else's track. So recently, I've just been having people that hit me up for a feature pay for my studio time. And if you pay for the studio time, have a good track, and present yourself properly, I'm definitely going to do the song with you.
That's not even a bad deal, man.
Not
Like
at all.
considering how many moves you've made and how popular you've become over the last year, that's a good deal for anyone in the area. All you got to do is present yourself well and be willing to make that investment, which isn't bad. You're not asking for much there at all, honestly.
Not at all. Just hit me up.
And that's why it makes sense that you've appeared on so many different projects over the last year. You obviously appeared on Zoe's project last year on the songs That Right and Home of the Brave. You appeared on St. Kid's project this year on that Hello track. That's probably one of my favorite tracks that's come out of Upstate. So I was really fucking with that track. And
thank you, for real.
you work with Blaine Bent on the track Chess Moves. And then Kado isn't someone that's from Upstate, right?
Kato. So what I found out, Kato lives in Florida, bro. I found out after working with Kato that he has ties to Upstate. I'm not sure if he was born up here, but I know he knows people up here and he spent time out here. He lives in Florida. That came about. He just hit me up and offered to basically host my trip in New York City if I came out to there, and made a couple songs with him and shot a video with him. And he was such a cool dude. Shout out to Kato. That's my boy. Probably gonna cook up something in the future as well. It was all love when we went down there. We had a great time. He literally bought an Airbnb for like a week, and we just stayed down there, and it was crazy.
And he just heard of you, like he just heard of your music one day and hit you up?
So he told me that he was a fan when I was putting out music under Infamous. So he's been listening to me since high school. So when he started putting out music, he hit me up and asked if I could check out a song and give him my opinion. And I was like, bet, I'll check it out. And I didn't check it out for like a week or two because it happens a lot. There's a lot of people that just hit me up and ask for advice or an opinion on something, and I'll do it for sure, but at my own time. So when I eventually got around to listening to a song, I was like, this shit kind of slaps. It's a good song. Like, so I let him know, and he was like, word, bro, like, if you ever want to do a song, let me know. I was like, send it. Just send an open verse, and I got you. I didn't have him pay for the studio time or anything. But when we went down to the studio, when we went down to the city, he booked a session at Quad, and that's where Tupac got shot. So we was literally in greatness. We're looking at plaques on the wall from Whitney Houston to Biggie to fucking Jennifer Lopez to literally anybody you could imagine. Like, so we had a great time, and he has a good head on his shoulders for sure.
That's dope. And then another track that you recorded over the last year that was a collaborative track was Rockstar, which came out with Meech Booker and Cal. That track is another one of my favorite tracks to come out of Upstate. And then the music video itself blows me away too. How did that come about? You're putting together the music video. Who thought of that?
So the music video was so spontaneous, bro. So we shot 3 videos in 2 days. One of them was Rockstar, one of them was Tired, and then one of them is for a track off of me and Meech's project that you guys will see whenever we decide. It's super fire. We put them out in order based off, like, just specifically, like, we wanted to put them out in this way. Rockstar came about as just a fun video because we had concepts for the other 2. Rockstar was the 3rd video we just wanted to have fun with, and I told Nico, you just gotta fuck up the editing, like, just do some crazy graphic shit, because I know how good Nico can be. I just don't think a lot of people give him the direction. Like, videographers are so limited if you don't give them an idea, and I'm just now learning that myself. So now I'm confident that all my videos in the future will be better than the previous ones, and I'm real excited about it. We wanted to get some real dope, like, just with all the animated shit that's going on in the world today with music videos, we wanted to do something that was fresh and not copy and pasting. And I can't take credit for the final product. Like, Nico and his editing team did that for sure. Like, I didn't have much to do with that besides letting them know what I wanted.
That's what's up, and shout out to Nico, because like I said on Facebook the other day, on Instagram, he's been killing it and just getting better and better with every video that he puts out. And he seems to be, him and Chise, they seem to both show up on everything that people are doing in Upstate.
Everything, bro. Everything.
If
Shout
it's
out
good,
Nico.
those
Shout
two
out
both
Chise.
got their names on it, and that's a testament to them, and that's a great thing, a helpful thing for Upstate, is to have these resources there. All you got to do is be willing to, like I said earlier, invest in yourself and invest in what you're trying to put out, and work with these creators who are going to help you do such great things.
Absolutely. You have to invest in yourself, or because you have to. If you don't invest, you can't expect return.
Yeah, if you can't invest in yourself, why in the hell should anybody else invest in you? That's the question I ask myself sometimes when people will hit me up and just be like, they'll tell me what to do. Oh, post this, or oh, like this. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, man.
Fuck out of here.
I'm not doing nothing if you tell me. That's the one thing that just, and like, it takes enough time to do half the shit that I do, and you're gonna tell me what to do. It's like, nah. But then, like, obviously you and Meech, we'll jump right into what everybody's probably interested in. Blur, the project that you and Meech are putting out. How did this come together? What made you decide Meech of all people? Because you're obviously with Smack Records. You have a lot of affiliates throughout Upstate. Why was Meech the guy that you wanted to do a full-length project with?
So I went to middle school and high school with Meech, and a lot of people, like, I don't think anybody really knows this. When I was in 9th grade and Meech was in 8th grade, we made a song together, and we put it on iTunes. It's not on iTunes anymore, but shit. Meech used to rap like J. Cole, bro. I swear to God. Like, I swear to God, he used to be a conscious-ass lyrical rapper, and then he just stopped rapping one day. Like, I think it was because of whatever was going on in his home, whatever was in his mind. Like, he just claimed he stopped rapping. And that went on for years. And Meech was like one of my favorite artists, but he just ghosted. I used to see him walking around school with a dictionary just reading that shit. And that's when I knew, like, you didn't stop. You didn't stop making music, you fucking liar. So I knew he was going to come out his shell at his own time. He eventually did. He started dropping music, and his first song dropped, and he got 25,000 views on it, basically.
Oh, shit.
And shout out Suicide, because he still bodied that to this day. And when I knew Meech was comfortable enough to release music, then I was like, we have to release music. That's how My Demons Won't Let Me Live came about. But I told Meech in fucking 9th grade that I wanted to make an album with him. Like, and he's not the first person that I asked to make a collaboration tape with seriously. Like, we had plans about it back in the day, but before me and Meech started working on this, me and Kelsey had plans. We talked about it briefly. Me and Trey Yates have talked about it a lot. Like, we have made really big plans on it, just no moves have been made towards it. Meech was the first person that I could sit down and lock in the studio with and just make music rapid pace. Like, we spent 60 hours in the studio, I'd say, in a span of 3 weeks, and just made the tape. And there wasn't too much thought that went into it besides, send me a song, I'll send you a song, and then we'll go to the studio and we'll make a couple songs on the spot. And that's exactly what happened. We probably made 15 songs, and maybe 16. Like, I don't even know at this point exactly how many we made. We definitely have music that didn't make the tape, and that's on purpose. I don't know exactly what's going to happen with all the tracks, but I have singles that I plan on dropping in the vault. So this is definitely not the end that you'll hear from me and Meech.
Word, and we got a little bit of a sneak peek at Upstate aesthetic of the project, and the project is definitely unique. It's probably not what people are expecting to hear, but I mean that in a good way. And who would you say did either one of you like take the lead in how the direction of the album went? Because you said that you were just sort of sending songs back and forth, but did one of you say, all right, this is how I want to do this, and then that's how you did it, or was it just a collaborative effort throughout the whole thing?
So what a lot of people don't know, or I guess a lot of people don't realize, is that Colorblind was finished probably August of 2018. I didn't stop making music. Like Ghost was the only song I dropped for the rest of 2018. I sprinkled a couple singles here and there, but for the most part, collabs are all that's been released. I've been switching up everything about my style in different ways behind the curtains, like for the past year now. Not like really changing, just experimenting with myself and seeing what I'm comfortable with, seeing what I can do, because like I said, Colorblind was my first attempt at structuring songs and shit. So I wanted to see what else I could do if I put my mind to it. So I kind of wanted to take a big leap. Meech didn't go too out of his comfort zone on this. I think Meech did exactly what Meech needed to do and more sometimes. Like, I think there's a couple parts where Meech is really showing out at what he does best. I know this is going to be a switch for some people, for me, but that's on purpose. This was a very experimental and fun tape to make. I wanted to be different from what I've been before and still be me. So we were in the studio experimenting with different sounds, different effects for certain tracks. And we just stuck with what we decided sounded good in the studio at the time. I wouldn't say there's one specific person responsible for the direction of the tape. I think this is just a perfect blend of how we were feeling at the time.
That makes sense. And you said that you spent 60 hours with Meech, or roughly 60 hours with him in the studio just working. What was it? Was it any different working with him for that extended period of time rather than just working on one track at a time like you had done in the past?
Oh, completely. It was different. It was a different experience than I've ever had working with anybody in the world on any song or anything. It was great. There's nothing like the energy of that. There was times where we were just having so much fun it didn't feel like music was being made, to be honest. There was times where, like Chai's, we're really cool. Like, he's our friend type shit, you could say. Like, the studio sessions are a very casual place. We just had to make sure that we were getting work done. And I was worried about that at first, to be honest. But working with Meech, like, was very easy. The chemistry was naturally there because we had built some in the past, but none of the songs we ever made did we write together, did we sit down and create. So there was a couple things that I was hesitant about or kind of nervous, but it just came together so fluently that I had nothing that I could really say about it. I just let it fly. I knew off the bat that we had something special. I'm very excited to get this out.
Yeah, and you could see the energy. You put out a couple of videos on Instagram and Snapchat and things like that of you guys in the studio, and you, listening to the track, you can feel, or some of these tracks, you can feel that energy. Sometimes when I'm listening to it, I can like see Meech in there with his shirt off, like pounding on the window and shit like that, and it's just like, yep, like that energy is there, and you could feel it through the music. So it's like you could tell that those were fun and enjoyable recording sessions, not something where you guys were just in there working.
Absolutely. Like, he's a clown in the studio. And to be honest, I have a much deeper appreciation for Meech's music, like all the solo shit he's done after seeing his recording process. I'll just put it at that. Like, his raw voice is a lot more refined and just better than I anticipated. And it took me to recording with him to actually see how skilled he was vocally.
Yeah, Meech is, like you said, he's one of your favorite artists. He's definitely one of my favorite artists, and this project just solidified that. And so, obviously, working with Meech in the studio was dope, but what was it like making decisions as far as, like, the cover art, what tracks made the cut, and shit like that, or, like, even the title? Was it difficult making those decisions, or was that relatively easy as well?
Deciding what tracks went on the project was relatively easy, to be honest. What me and Meech decided to do, I texted Meech one night. I was like, bro, pick the best 3 tracks that you have featuring, it's Meech featuring Ant, and then I'm gonna pick the best 3 tracks that are Ant featuring Meech, you pick 2 songs, I pick 2 songs, solo shits, and then we'll put My Demons Won't Let Me Live as like a bonus track, and we'll let it rock like that. And he just agreed off bat. Like, there was no argument, there was no debate. He thought it was a good idea. The toughest part was probably coming up with the name and the cover art. That process was a bitch for sure. But once we picked the word Blur, we knew off bat that was what it was. We were just name jotting, coming up with ideas or concepts that we could think about, what we could tie to it, how we were feeling at the time. It's not a conceptual project, so we didn't want to overthink it at all. We wanted to do something that we could put out visually to match the cover art, and I think that we went with the right idea.
That's dope, man. And obviously, we still don't have an exact date, but people can definitely
on
get
the
hyped.
contrary, we do.
Do we?
Yeah, I wanted to wait for here to announce it. So you about to get the exclusive.
Oh, good shit.
It's dropping August 31st.
Good shit. So August 31st, Blur is officially dropping. People can get excited for that. Obviously, people are hyped up for it. I don't want to keep you too much longer, so go ahead and promote anything else that we have to look forward to outside of August 31st. Anything you got going on?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a show September 7th at the Haunt. It's going to be a very, very dope lineup. They're bringing out headliners from Maryland, Virginia. They're going to be putting on some EDM shows. So I'm going to be performing with some shit that I've never really performed before. And I'm going to be excited for that. So anybody that wants info on that, contact me. All social media is Anthony Kannon with a K. That's Facebook, that's Instagram, that's Spotify, that's Apple Music, that's Tidal. Anywhere you can find me. You can also Google Anthony Kannon and get any information you need on me, whether that's an email, contact information, or you're just looking for some music. I'm going to be dropping singles, sprinkling them out for the rest of the year, basically. I've put out, I have a lot of music in the vault. That's what I've been working on, so I could comfortably drop music whenever I want at my leisure. So I'm excited to get this project out, but don't think that that's it for now, because I got some shit for you guys.
Word, that's what's up. So people have a lot to get excited for, especially if you're an Anthony Kannon fan. We appreciate you joining us this week for this interview. Can't wait for the project to officially drop. Everyone can check it out, and we'll be having an extended review coming of that. So that's what people have to look forward to from us. This week we actually have an exclusive song from Ithaca native Saint Kid. He's someone that we said you worked with in the past on Hello. Saint Kid is someone that I think is really going to blow up. He's 15 and doing this shit.
There's no question about what Saint Kid is gonna do in his future. It's just what he wants to do. And me and Saint Kid have some moves in the future that I can't speak on right now, but just know when they come into fruition, it is over. It's gonna be some of the biggest things that I've ever done in my career, I think, or taken part of, I should say.
That's what's up, man. So fans have that to look forward to as well. But until then, we're going to get you guys going with the last little bit of exclusive music. This is Attached by Saint Kid. Thanks for everybody tuning in.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah. And I think I said too much last night. Yeah. TV in the background, drowning conversations.